best friends. I'm your host, Bill Calkins, and I'm excited for this podcast and video because it's about new varieties, which we all know are the lifeblood of the industry, but it's not going to be your run-of-the-mill new variety presentation, that's for sure. I'm happy to be joined by three representatives from PanAmerican Seed who each bring specific expertise to the table and have worked with these new crops for years to help bring them to market with solid foundations and supported by all the information that you as growers need to be successful. Sonali Padhye is PanAm's Senior Global Technical Manager, Robin Ruether is Senior Product Manager, and Lacy is Director of Product Management for PanAmerican. It's pretty much a dream team lineup when it comes to sharing the ins and outs of the products on today's agenda. Sonali, Robin, Lisa, welcome.
It's good to be here.
So before we get into the 5 products on tap for today, which are really 5 very different products covering a range of product types, uses, and market position, it's currently early spring if you're listening or watching in real time. It's actually not quite spring, but it's pretty close, and it feels like it today in 2026. And I'm wondering what PanAm's new variety roster for 2027 looks like from a big picture, high level standpoint. I guess, should the industry expect a huge year in terms of volume of new or in terms of major breakthroughs or both? And Lisa, I'm going to throw this one to you. Your view is really comprehensive and global, but Sonali and Robin, feel free to jump in if you want.
I think the palette is quite diverse. You kind of mentioned it in these upcoming 5 products that we're going to talk about, and this represents our introductions for this coming year. We have, I think, a great selection of items that serve a range of market needs. Main season, annuals, early spring. We've got some really good perennial introductions. We're bringing new items into the vegetable segment. So it's really a great palette of products that are diverse. And also there's some solutions that we're bringing to some of the challenges in the marketplace.
Cool. And Sonali, from what you've seen out in the market, I guess seeing growers and seeing trials who've already had some of these crops on the bench, are the growers excited about adding these to the mix?
Oh, absolutely. The ask has been, when can we get the seed? And so in case of some of these products, we have actually launched a little bit earlier. Typical sales begin on April 1st. But then a couple of these products have already hit the market running because of this huge demand in the marketplace. So we are very excited about these launches.
That's cool. And Robin, we just mentioned that we're all going to be in California in a couple of weeks. You guys showing these crops off to growers. What do you think the reaction is going to be out in California this year?
I'm really looking forward to showing everything at Santa Paula in a couple of weeks. I think the reaction will be positive. Maybe some people have done trials and have seen these a little bit before, but now we finally get to release them and experience them. So very, very eager to get that going.
Awesome. And I know everybody who's going to be attending in a couple of weeks at Spring Trials is excited too. I think that sets the stage really well for today's discussion. We have 5 crops to cover, very different crops. So where are we starting and who wants to tee it up?
Well, I'll tee it up. And as you mentioned, we have 5 diverse and really solution-bringing products that we're going to talk about today. And we love talking about the new varieties. So we do try to deliver a diverse, new, and innovative solution in our products. And as we go through these, I believe the listeners and the watchers to the program and what they'll see in CAST will identify with some of those solutions for them. This presentation is really designed to give the audience some positioning insights on the new products and also some really important crop culture guidance tips that Sonali is going to share. So when the sales teams get into the market, they can hit the ground running with a good amount of introduction information. So we're going to start it off with Lanna lace. The African marigolds are such a staple in the marketplace. Growers can grow it. It's an easy product to grow. Gardeners know how to use it. It's durable. It's season long. And we're really pleased to bring a solution to the market this year with the new Lanna lace. And some of our listeners and watchers may recall a variety called vanilla. It was very popular because it afforded a different color than the traditional marigold colors. But unfortunately, we struggled with seed production and had to drop that variety from the market. The solution we're bringing this year that we're quite enthusiastic about is the new Lanna lace. Now, this one we're bringing has the same color that the market liked about vanilla, with the big benefit of reliable seed production. So some of the characteristics about Lanna Lace, as you see in this picture, here are the large double flower heads. This is similar to the flower shape of a Taishan, but in that nice vanilla color. And there is a main difference between this and the original vanilla, and that is in plant vigor and habit. For those in the marketplace that remember vanilla, it was similar to the Marvel 2, the little bit larger structure Marigold. As you see clearly in this image, Lanna Lace is very similar to the Taishan plant habit. So that gets an opportunity to grow in packs along with the pots and the quartz, and with a little bit more controlled plant structure, but not giving up the great color that the market really appreciates. So we've brought this to market and we have good seed availability. And a little bit about the name Lanna. So the name Lanna is really a tribute to the Lanna Kingdom in the Chiang Mai region of Thailand. And it's in this region is where we have our breeding facility. And that's where this product was bred. So it's kind of a tribute to that region and that team for bringing back vanilla. I'm going to hand it off to Sonali right now to talk about some culture tips.
With its unique color, Lanna Lace positions really well as an add-on to existing African marigold programs. With its creamy white color, it's such a nice addition to any kind of color palette in mixed combination containers. And retailers have been repeatedly asking for novel, interesting combos, particularly in heat tolerant segment for the summer. And so this product would perform really well in that segment. Because white color is so versatile, it is not just limiting to summer. It can also be used in early spring or fall combinations, not just in mixed containers, but also in mixed plantings in the landscape, because it's not just for a container use, it's also for a landscape use. It's good to remember that African marigolds are facultative short day plants. That means they flower faster under short days. They flower about a couple of weeks faster under short days compared to long day conditions. And what's advantageous is that this short day treatment can be given in plug stage. So you don't have to black out an entire greenhouse for finished production. You can just black out a smaller section of plug production and give short days in order to hasten flowering. One added benefit of short days is also consistent plant habit, because plants are more compact under short days and they tend to be a little bit taller under long days. And so if you short day the plugs, you consistently deliver the same habit across multiple shift weeks of production. So we kind of want to wrap it up by giving you 3 key insights. So if there were only 3 things that you could remember about each product, we're going to summarize that into each slide. So the first thing about Lanna Lace is that it has creamy white flowers like vanilla, the drop variety, on compact plants like Taishan. It easily adds on to existing African marigold programs, and it can be also a nice add into heat-tolerant combos. And finally, they are facultative short day plants, and giving 2 weeks in plugs of short days hastens flowering and gives you consistent plant habit throughout the production phase.
We will pivot to a different class next and talk about Bacopa. So for some history, PanAm has a series of seed Bacopa called the Topia series that's been on the market for some time. And it's a good, reliable option from seed. It comes in a white, a blue, and a pink. But over the years, one of the most common requests has been for a larger flower size. The growers want something more comparable to the vegetative varieties on the market. So that is why we are pleased to introduce this Galactic mist that addresses that need. It now delivers the largest flowers available in a seed Bacopa. So this flower size rivals several vegetative varieties. So it's going to give growers that visual impact, but with the conveniences of seed. And I wanted to point out that just recently, due to its excellent trial performance, Galactic Mist was awarded a Flora Select Gold Medal. So if people aren't familiar with the Flora Select program, it's very similar to the All America Selections program we have here in North America. It's done in several trial sites in Europe. So this is a really nice validation. This product holds up to our claims. You don't just have to take our word for it, but independent trial sites have confirmed that this is a winner. So along with the large flowers, Galactic Mist offers a well-branched, mounded habit. There's no pinching needed, as Sonali will go into here in a minute. And a key advantage of seed propagated Bacopas is that they go through a juvenile stage where they're bulking up before they flower. So they're putting their efforts into building up roots, having a solid foundation before it even thinks about flowering. This is nice because it eliminates the need for cleanup due to premature flowering. So it's a really nice labor-saving option for growers. And Galactic Mist is really versatile in its placement. It performs well in patio containers, hanging baskets, and due to its large flower size and robust branching, it's an excellent choice for early cool season combinations. It really mixes well with others. So now I think Sonali will go into some culture tips.
Thanks, Robin. We are supplying Galactic Mist as a single-seeded pellet. So that's a little bit different than our Topia series, which is currently offered as a multi-seeded pellet. So if you could just take one thing absolutely from this presentation, please make sure that you multi-sow this product. We are recommending that you sow 3 to 4 pellets per cell in a plug tray. And we have a nice little photograph on the screen that demonstrates why that is necessary. Picture on the left shows a tray with one pellet per cell, and you can see that the plugs are a little bit sparse. And with 3 and 4 pellets per cell, you will get fuller, nicer plug with all usable plants. So that's the critical message here. And the other growing tip is from our own trials conducted in our greenhouses in Elburn, Illinois, which is in the Midwest in the United States. And we found out that transitioning from stage 1 to 3 in plugs, meaning after radical emergence until true leaf expansion, that transition needs to be gradual in terms of relative humidity. If the plants are shifted from their moist germination environment into dry environment, you lose some of the usables. And so we are recommending maintaining high relative humidity of 60% or greater in that critical transition phase during pluck. We are not recommending pinching on this product, and that is because pinch plants tend to have more sparse flowers in the center. The photo here demonstrates control, which is a non-pinched control on the left, and pinched plant on the right. And you can see that the pinched plant is missing a lot of flowers in the center. So please do not pinch it. Copas are day neutral, but they continue to flower across a range of photo periods, and therefore they're very easy to program and use. And finally, one of the tips that also came from our several growing trials was to moisture manage it appropriately. Copas are sensitive to moisture management. They don't like being too wet or too dry. They kind of prefer consistent, moderate moisture throughout the growing phase. So both in plug as well as in finished stage, don't allow the plants to wilt because wilt causes premature bud and flower drop. Just keep it at level 2 to 3 consistent, not too wet, not too dry. In summary, if you could just take 3 things away, that would be this is the largest seed Bacopa with largest flowers, which are very, very similar to vegetative types. We are supplying it as a single seed pellet, so you'd have to make sure that you sow 3 to 4 pellets per cell to get full plugs, and do not pinch this product. Otherwise, it will not have floriferous centers. So does that make any sense, or do you have any questions about the product?
I guess my only question on this is knowing that that Bacopa are so popular in combinations, PanAm going to start playing around with combination mixes and putting this in, because you guys do such cool combo programs. You have you played around with Galactic Mist already?
Yes, we have, and we'll be able to be sharing that information with the market as soon as we get the images taken of the product. So we're definitely incorporating it into combos.
Cool. I mean, that's such a big place in the market for a product like this. This is really exciting. And why didn't you multi-pellet it? Like, what was there a technical reason behind that, or?
Yeah, so typically this is kind of a market dilemma. European customers want single-seeded pellets and they prefer to multi-sow them. And our North American customers want multi-seeded pellets because they want to draw one pellet per cell and be more efficient in their sowing programs. So our decision as a team, in order to manage the number of SKUs we put out into the marketplace, is if it's a higher European volume item, we're going to supply it as a single pellet. And people across the globe will just multi-sow. And if it's a North American centric product, meaning we think that we might sell more volume in North America, then we are going to offer that as a multi-pellet. And actually, we have multiple products in presentation today that are either single seed pellets or multi-pellet based on that rationale.
That makes sense. I mean, PanAm is a global company, and I'm sure that plug growers are certainly capable of multi-seeding these, and they'll turn out great. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to take a big jump from our little cool season Bacopa to our big summer sunflower with this next introduction of Always Sunny Gold. These big multi-blooming landscape type sunflowers have become highly popular due to their strong consumer appeal at point of sale, because who doesn't love a sunflower, but also their reliable landscape and garden performance throughout the summer. Always Sunny Gold is a new addition to this category, and it brings several key advantages over other varieties out there. It's got a more compact greenhouse habit, which is great for the grower. It's a fast crop to get out the door. The plants are well branched, providing a full, attractive flower display, whether you pinch or not, which is great for the grower and retailer. And they are very robust plants, as we'll see in some photos here. They have an extended garden performance. So it's an awesome product for the landscaper or home gardener. And this is another award winner, just like Bacopa Galactic Mist. Always Sunny Gold just recently received the Flora Select Gold Medal. So there's some really nice publicity about that online through the Flora Select social media or their webpage. So again, it's nice to have our claims verified by all these trial sites. Another important point is that Always Sunny Gold has 100% pollen-free flowers. So why is that important? Well, it's nice because no pollen equals no mess is basically what it comes down to. So this can be beneficial like on the retail bench, where the leaves aren't getting dusted with a yellow unsightly coating, or especially when the plants are used as a cut flower by fresh market growers or home gardeners. The lack of pollen makes the harvesting and the handling and the arranging of the bouquets just cleaner, and it's more convenient. In one of my past jobs, we had a phrase about not shedding pollen on the tablecloth. So that's the visual that always comes to my head, is that, somebody buys a nice bouquet at the farmer's market and brings it home. They're not going to be annoyed the next day when there's a halo of yellow on the tablecloth. So these pollen-free blooms have a nice advantage of being just a no-mess solution. But while the flowers are pollen-free, I want to clarify and emphasize that they are still pollinator-friendly or beneficial insect-friendly. I get that question a lot. If people are interested, I would encourage you to do a little reading about the food sources for bees and learn about how they need both pollen and nectar. I'm by no means an expert, but I find it very fascinating. And when I'm out there in the trials, I am surrounded by happy bees, just buzzing away, doing their thing. I do my thing. We coexist in a very nice way. But I want to emphasize that it is a good plant for beneficial insects. This variety is really well suited for landscape programs. As you can see here in this photo, we're demonstrating the longevity. So we have the leading seed competitor on the left, which has just kind of exhausted itself. There's no new blooms coming, whereas Always Sunny Gold on the right is still going strong. And this photo was taken in California week 36, getting pretty late in the season. We're getting into September. But we have seen these same results in other trials throughout the country and throughout the world, really. And this is why it's winning awards. Its longevity is a real breeding breakthrough. Because of this landscape performance, it has also been added to the PanAm Pro Landscape program. So a great item to just maximize the color in the landscape. I think you're going to have very high consumer satisfaction with this performance.
Culture standpoint, we are supplying this as raw seed, and sunflower seed tends to be quite a bit larger than our common annuals in production. And therefore, we are recommending a slightly larger tray size. Typically, for most products, we recommend 288 cell trays, but we are recommending 128 cell or larger tray for sunflower. Covering is critical for getting maximum germination, and this is true for all large seeded items, including Always Sunny Gold sunflower. What this cover does is it provides that high humidity environment and consistent moisture supply throughout germination, and therefore growers can achieve higher germination as well as greater uniformity of seedlings. Robin mentioned that Always Sunny Gold is a compact variety for greenhouse production, but it does benefit from PGR use both in plug as well as in finished stage. In plugs, we are recommending a 2 parts per million paclobutrazole sprench immediately after germination is complete at radical emergence. And a sprench is a greenhouse lingo for a large volume spray application, which means almost twice as much chemical is applied, but is applied as a spray, so that some of that chemical drips into the media and also acts as a drench, providing benefits as spray for immediate use and drench for later use by the plants. And so it tends to last longer than just a spray. Interspecific sunflowers are facultative long day plants. That means Always Sunny Gold flowers faster under long days, and it flowers about 2 weeks faster under long days compared to short days. Similar to a lot of other crops, this long day treatment can be provided in plug stage, and we are recommending either 14 hours of long days or longer than that, or a night interruption treatment, which means the lamps turn on at 10 p.m. at night and then they turn off at 2 a.m. This treatment helps promote flowering faster under short days in finish as shown in the image below. So on the bench that's on the left side of the image, we have plugs grown under long days and plants after transplant finished under short days. And that long day benefit carried over into short day finish and the plants flower faster. Compared to bench on the right that is showing plants that were always kept under short days, both in plug as well as finish stage. If you look a little bit closely, you can see that those plants do have flower buds, so eventually they will go ahead and flower. The flowering is just delayed by a couple more weeks. And when we give this long day treatment in plugs, Always Sunny finishes 10 to 14 days faster than its seed competitor, given the same treatment. So it has that added advantage of faster finish than competition. If you don't pinch Always Sunny Gold, you end up with one central large bloom like shown in the middle image on the screen. But typically the goal is to produce multiple flowering stems on a plant so that it's retail ready and it's very desirable to consumers and yields higher sell-through. So pinching is recommended for that particular application. You can pinch plants when they have about 12 to 14 leaves after transplant. And pinching should be given at 8 leaves, which means you keep 8 leaves and you remove 4 to 6 leaves at that pinch. That stage is illustrated in the image on the left side on the screen. Pinching does delay flowering by about 10 to 14 days, but it still has really good value because it produces such a nice looking plant that's just going to fly off the shelf at retail. And so it really helps make the plants retail ready with that appeal with multiple flowers at sale. PGRs are also necessary in finish stage. Unpinched plants tend to be a little bit unruly as shown on the rightmost side of the image. These are pinched plants without any PGR. We recommend a paclobutrazole drench. In this Midwestern trial, we use 2 or 3 parts per million paclobutrazole in drench form, and both yielded decent control. If grown under very high heat or humid conditions, like in the southeast or southwest, higher rates or repeated applications of PGRs might be necessary. So the 3 key takeaways or insights from this crop are: Always Sunny Gold is excellent for use in new and existing landscape type sunflower programs, and they make excellent cut flowers for fresh market programs. Always Sunny Gold does require PGRs in both plug stage and finish. In plug stage, we are recommending 2 parts per million paclobutrazole French at radical emergence, and at finish stage, we are recommending 3 parts per million paclobutrazole drench about a couple of weeks after transplant. If you want multiple flowers at ship, we recommend pinching at 12 to 14 leaf stage, leaving 8 leaves behind.
Well, we're moving from peak landscape summer product of Always Sunny to a product that's going to be providing an opportunity for early spring sales in combos. This is Heucherette. Now, I'm going to focus on the ETTE at the end of that name, Heucherette, because that implies a little bit more compact, and a little bit smaller plant structure. So this is not your typical large leaf, big, vigorous Heuchera. This is really designed to be more refined, more compact, and flowering. So you get the combo of the flowering plus the foliage in Heucherette. Heucherette is a tender perennial. I want to emphasize the word tender here. It's a zone 6A to 8A. But it really performs best under cool, moderate conditions. It is not designed for your peak season of summer where it's hot or humid or full sun. Heucherette does not perform well in those conditions. So really think about early spring offering with the two Heucherette colors. So the first color we're showing here is Heucherette Pink. These have these pink to almost pink bicolor flowers above this really lovely burgundy foliage. This is also a gold medal winner in the Florist Select program. It trialed very well and again shows the opportunity for use of this genetic. So this is Heucherette Pink. And here is its partner color, Heucherette Red. Red as these bright, vibrant flowers above the green foliage. So where to position Heucherette? Think of it as an accent or a flowering element in like your cool spring plantings or standalone container. I really think that there's some opportunities for Heucherette to be mixed with your other spring products. Think primulas, pansies, violas, and we believe there's a nice opportunity there because those shoulder season programs can benefit from some additional product lines to kind of change up what those combos can look like. As mentioned before, it is a tender perennial. So in very certain moderate climates, such as in the Pacific Northwest, this could be grown and sold as a tender perennial, but as very regional specific use. So I'm going to pass it on to Sonali for some grower insights.
Heucherette is supplied as single seed pellets, and we are recommending that growers sow 3 to 4 pellets per cell in order to get full, good, nice looking professional plugs. Similar to Bacopa, we are also recommending a gradual transition from stage 1 to 3, meaning after germination until full leaf expansion for about 3 weeks, keep it under higher humidity. Don't shock it by moving it from humid stage 1 environment to dry stage 2 or 3 environment. In the photo, we are illustrating the dramatic difference between the yield when plants were transitioned suddenly from germination conditions to 40% humidity. We saw very sparse looking trays as seen on the left side. And when transitioned gradually from germination environment into high humidity environment of 60% or higher, we saw very nice looking trays of Heucherette. Heucherette is a first-year flowering perennial, meaning it does not need a vernalization treatment. And it's also day neutral, so it flowers under all photoperiod. And both these attributes make it really easy to use because it doesn't need any kind of special treatment. It is a cool product. We are mentioning this over and over because it is critical that it is grown under cooler conditions so that customers can really enjoy its benefits of both great quality foliage as well as beautiful flowers. The plants will flower sparsely when grown super cold at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or cooler temperatures. And it also flowers sparsely when grown fairly warm in the 70s or so temperatures. So its sweet spot for getting uniform flowering is into low to mid 60s in Fahrenheit. And in the image that's shown on the screen, you can see a couple of plants with full blooms, and those were grown at 63 degrees average daily temperature. Of the two varieties, pink is 1 week later to flower compared to red. So the 3 key insights or takeaways for Heucherette are, first of all, it is for use in cool season. It works really great in combinations, either as a foliage component or as a flowering component. It is a single seed pellet, and therefore we are recommending sowing 3 to 4 pellets per cell to get full plugs. And finally, grow it in cool conditions in mid 60s in Fahrenheit to get the most uniform flowering out of this crop. With that, Bill, I'll throw it back to you. Do you have any questions about Heuchera?
What's the ideal container size to grow this in? Can I grow it in quarts and send it to retail, or does it require something bigger?
Definitely quartz it's
Okay.
a really good size for this product because the plant structure is a little bit more compact. So I think if you get in too large of a container, then certainly you can do multiple plants. But if you're doing a single, then a quart is a sweet spot for the Heucherette.
And it makes it the perfect combo component as well. I totally see
Mm-hmm.
that used for this early season combo. It's just going to look
Yeah.
totally different than anything else you'll see in that pot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like
No,
the
that's
fact that
cool.
the flowers are an added advantage because not only just, the foliage will combine well, but sometimes you need some
Mhm.
height element in those combos. And the Heucherette flowers will certainly provide that in these early spring combos.
Yeah, no, that's really nice with that
Mm,
color of the heuchera foliage. That's a
Mm-hmm.
neat plant. I love that red. That red looks
Mm-hmm.
really, really vivid.
Mm-hmm. So last but certainly not least, this is one of my favorite introductions out of PanAm this year. And this is truly a spectacular introduction, I must say. It's a Sedum Spectacular, a new addition to the PanAm perennial programs. These sedums are truly staples of landscape. They're durable, and Sedum Spectacular fits perfectly in there. It has all those elements that growers, that the landscapers expect from this type of sedum in terms of being durable and cold hardy, which I'll get into a few minutes. The big difference here is we're providing a solution to the market. This is a seed sedum, and feedback we've received from the market is that growers struggle in getting the vegetative cuttings in at the right time, so they're not initiated. And so this provides an easy and simple solution to have reliability whenever the grower is needing to sow the product. So we're really pleased to bring this solution to the market. The product itself is a bit more compact than some of the leading vegetative genetics in the marketplace. I also find that the foliage color is a slightly brighter and slightly lighter color than some of the traditional vegetative ones, which brightens up some of the uses. This is a superb landscape performer. It fits into our pro landscape program. The bottom right, this was Elburn in our pro landscape trials. What is also a little bit different from this one compared to vegetative is while you do get a large flower head, you can see that on the upper left, it's not so big that the plants tumble over. And we see that sometimes with the vegetative ones, they break open. And so you lose that mass. That is not an issue with the spectacular genetic. So you're getting durability also in plant structure as well as cold hardiness. And you get these lovely pink flowers. So it's a really nice combination of that mid-green and pink flower. And the durability, I've mentioned that a couple of times. It's hardy to zone 3B, so it can be used anywhere the vegetative ones are being offered.
We are supplying Sedum Spectacular as a multi-seed pellets or MPLs. Therefore, you just have to sow one seed, one MPL per pellet, per cell in plug production. We are recommending some PGRs both in plug stage as well as finished to get more tone product. Certainly, if you grow this product cold, PGR may not be necessary, but it's a multi-season use product. So it's used in early spring, in summer, as well as in the autumn. And so the growing conditions vary greatly. Therefore, PGRs may be necessary particularly if it's grown on the warm side. In plugs, we have found that diminazide at 2500 ppm after full stand is beneficial. The image shows you the control is a little bit loose. You can see a little bit of stem elongation in those seedlings, whereas with diminazide spray, seedlings are much more compact and they look very toned. I will talk about photoperiod requirement of Sedum Spectacular quite a bit because it's a little bit of a tricky crop. But as far as plug growing is concerned, we recommend growing plugs under short days at 13-hour photoperiod or shorter because we want to keep the plugs from flowering and allow them to bulk up into nice vegetative growth at that stage. We mentioned a couple of times it's an interesting plant because it's sold green, it's sold with flower buds, and it's also sold in full color with open flowers. And each of those forms require a little bit different photoperiod management. If you want to sell it green, like the leftmost photo, grow plants under short days because short days will inhibit flowering and therefore you will build a nice vegetative robust plant. If you want to sell it with flower buds, then after transplant, move the plants to long days because long days are essential for flower bud development. And finally, if you want to sell Sedum Spectacular in color, then the last photo period treatment after the end of long days should be short days because short days are now necessary for those buds to open and for flowers to come to anthesis or color. So to simplify all that a little bit, we have put together this easy to follow chart and it shows how to produce Sedum Spectacular in full color. Start by sowing 1 MPL in 128 cell or larger tray and grow plugs under short days until they are pullable, which takes about 7 to 8 weeks. The short days should be 13 hours or shorter photo period, and this keeps the plugs vegetative. After transplant, grow plants under long days, and long days should be 16 hours or longer, or night interruption by lighting the plants in the middle of the night from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That bud formation phase is 5 to 6 weeks. And finally, short days are required again for those formed flower buds to open. And that short day treatment should be for 4 to 5 weeks. So finally, a total production schedule to have from seed sown until having plants ship in full color is somewhere between 16 to 19 weeks. We do recommend maintaining a moderate to high EC on Sedum Spectacular. It's about 1.2. That's recommended because if the EC is too low, plants tend to be chlorotic. And we recommend giving a finished PGR treatment to keep the plant manageable. Both diminazide as well as paclobutrazol work. And the choice of PGR would depend on the growing season. In spring season, when it's a little bit cooler and moderate, you can get away with diminazide at 25 parts per million. But if it's a summer production schedule, then you may need a little more oomph to your PGR program, and that's when 5 parts per million paclobutrazol spray can be effective. In summary, we are presenting 3 key insights that you should take away. First of all, this product is in a way easy because it can be sold green, it can be sold with flower buds, or it can be sold with open flowers. In order to sell the plants quickly from sow until finish with full color, we are recommending a schedule that's given in a chart form. Plugs under short days for 7 to 8 weeks, then finish with buds under long days for 5 to 6 weeks, and then finally again finish for buds to flowering stage under short days for 4 to 5 weeks. And we recommend diminazide in plugs as a PGR and diminazide or paclobutrazol as a finished PGR to give tone to this crop. I know it's a little bit complicated, but we have tried our best to simplify the photo period management of this crop. With that, do you have any questions, Bill?
When are the majority of this type of sedum sold? What time of year, I guess, would the bulk of the market see these at retail?
I knew somebody would ask that question. So I reached out to our reps in the market, and the answer was it depends. So a rep from Southwest said that they see sedum supplied both as green or with buds or open flowers. So the green product is sold typically in the summer or late spring. And then the product with buds and open flowers is sold in the autumn or fall. And in the European market, it's sold strictly as a fall product, late in the season, which makes sense because that's when the plugs will naturally get the short days followed by long days followed by short days.
Right.
So that makes sense that no manipulation would be required if it's a fall finish program. And so, yeah, it's kind of a grower choice. And then, people get to decide whether just let it go through its natural photoperiod cycle to produce it, or whether to manipulate photoperiod in order to have the right form for sale.
That makes sense. And what size plug tray are we growing this in?
128 or larger. We always say that, and then we find growers kind of adapting this to their condition and doing whatever works in their situation. So, recommendations are good, but I'm confident that our very innovative growers may also put it in 288s or smaller.
I'm sure that will happen. And Lisa, when you mentioned them being compact, before you even got into it, that made me happy because I will say that I have quite a bit of sedum in my yard and it does grow tall flops or snaps off by the
Mhm.
end of the season, and it's a
Mhm.
little bit annoying. It's right by my front door. So I think the compactness is a big plus for this, and I love the fact
Mhm.
that it does have nice flower heads, but they're not gonna just, flop over and snap off before the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's definitely what we've observed in our trials here in our pro landscape trials as well. And by compact, it is by no means weak. It's just more controlled than the vegetative genetics that have been
Right.
around for a while.
Okay. Well, I think with that, thank you all so much for your time, Lisa, Sonali, and Robin. You guys are great. Your knowledge range is as comprehensive as PanAm's range of crops. And we saw a lot of that today just with these five. It's such a good representation of what PanAm brings to market. And it does sound like growers can count on some big hitters and awesome additions from PanAm for 2027. And of course, beyond. And we were talking before we started that in product management and product selection and doing all the cultural trial work that you guys are thinking many years in advance, and these crops have been on your radar for a long time. Can any of you tell me which one of these five crops has been in the breeding pipeline the longest?
Mm.
See, maybe the Bacopa that we had to work on the seed form, but the product was done quite a
Mhm.
while ago, but we had to just figure out the proper seed form.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's something I just think is
Mm.
interesting, and
Mm.
knowing the longevity of some of these breeding programs is really exciting.
Mhm.
Before we close, where can our viewers and listeners go for more information about Pan American, the product assortment, or any of the cultural and technical information needed for production? Where's the best place to go?
That is an excellent question, Bill. So we put out all the information related to every product culture in Grower Facts, which are available online. So if you go to panamseed.com, Grower Facts for every product are listed. And I double checked, and all these products are already uploaded and ready to go. And right next to the Grower Facts link for most of the products, we provide an additional link called Grower Facts Extra. And this is a little bit something extra tidbits like we provided together that don't necessarily fit our rigid format of Grower Facts, but provide extra information along with photos of trials. That's the easiest place. And then, of course, we print the green book called Product Information Guide, which we affectionately call PIG. Those have been printed and have been out and about already for these new products.
Excellent. So panamseed.com. I will put links in the show notes and video description, and definitely encourage folks to go there, look at the grower facts. There's so much information. It's one of the things that I respect most about your team is the resources that you put out and the grower support, and it's not just one and done. After the products are released, that support continues and the resources keep coming year after year as we all learn more about these crops. So thank you, all of you guys. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
And I can't wait to see these products in action in the coming years. And to the audience, I'm your host, Bill Calkins. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Here's to an awesome 2026 season and beyond. Take care out there.